Hi guys, today I want to show you the Frost tool with rotation for patch 3.3.3. I tried out the 0.53.18 spec. You can find the link in the sidebar. The normal basic spec is 0.52.15. It should be noted that you can take points out of Killing Machine and place them into Chill of the Grave or Black Ice. Nevertheless, the basic idea remains. Essentially, you have 4 points to put in any of the following talents: Subversion, Blood-Caked Blade, Killing Machine, Black Ice or Chill of the Grave. You maybe ask yourself, what types of weapons should I use? It's easy. Because of threats of the Sarian, all your strikes will now hit with both weapons. As such, you will want to get weapons that have the highest possible average damage. In most cases, this means looking for a slower, for example 2.6 speed weapon. However, always make sure that you check that average damage, as the speed of a weapon can be sometimes misleading. If two weapons are of similar average damage, whichever has the highest DPS will end up being better. In the event that they have identical DPS values, consult your stat weights to determine which has the best stats for your particular gear set. For the main hand you will enchant Rune of the Fallen Crusader, and in the offhand you will enchant Rune of Raidsetup if you want to focus on single target DPS. If you want to focus on AoE DPS, you should enchant Rune of Cinderglazer in the offhand. Raidsetup is easily the best rune forge for a predominantly single target fight. Nothing can match a static 10% frost damage to your primary target. However, on AoE encounters, Cinderglazer end up being better because you can, with relative ease, align Killing Machine and Cinderglazer procs for incredible AoE damage. Furthermore, Death and Decay and Blood Boil are affected by Cinderglazer but do not consume its charges. The next part is Unbreakable Armor. Since Unbreakable Armor consumes a frost rune, it can be somewhat difficult to use without disrupting the flow of your abilities. As such, it should always be used in combination with Blood Tap to prevent unbalancing of frost or unholy runes. The best way to do this is to use Blood Tap followed by Unbreakable Armor immediately after consuming the death runes generated by Blood Strike. Now let's hold the clip for a minute and focus on our rotation. In my opinion, Frost Dualwield is the hardest spec you can play on Death Knight. You don't have a normal rotation, your rotation belongs to a spell priority list. For single target it's Killing Machine Frost Strike, keep Frost Fever up, keep Blood Plaguer up, Obliterate, Blood Strike, Frost Strike, Rime and Horn of the Winter. This decision making system is illustrated in the following flowchart. This priority list is designed to use your abilities in order of the highest damage, lowest while keeping up your diseases. Because Frost Fever and Blood Plaguer do significant amount of damage on their own, it is probably a DPS gain to allow them to run their complete duration on your target before replying them. During the time when you are waiting for your Unholy or Frost runes to become available, you should avoid Blood Strikes and continue to Frost Strikes holding Blast your current target. It should be noted that this strategy is likely only a DPS gain if someone else present in your raid is able to keep Frost Fever up on the boss, as you will otherwise lose a considerable amount of Frost Strike damage. I tried to find out a normal rotation for it. It took me some hours, but I found one. I've created 3 parts of our rotation. Start with Plague Strike, Icy Touch, Blood Strike, Pestilence, Obliterate, Frost Strike. You will ask yourself why apply diseases and immediately refresh them. Well, you put on diseases. After the use of Blood Strike you will refresh them to full time again, so you can refresh them after part 2 of the rotation. If you don't refresh them in the first part, they will run out of time and you have to refresh them with Icy Touch and Plague Strike. The second part is Obliterate, Obliterate, Frost Strike, Obliterate, Frost Strike. And the last part is Blood Strike, Pestilence, Obliterate, Obliterate, Frost Strike. Then you can move on with part 2 and keep on doing part 2 and 3. But be careful, you have about 1 second time to refresh the diseases, otherwise you have to make part 1 again. It's kinda difficult, but if you train a little bit on the training dummy you will get more routine in it. So don't forget to rate and comment, subscribe if you want to see more videos in future. Next week I'm gonna make the blood guide for patch 3.3.3. See ya!